Hi, and welcome to episode 112 or 112 of C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails. I'm Ren.
And I'm River.
And today we are going to be talking about elixirs, which I'm super
Yes.
excited about this topic. It was something that I hadn't even really thought about because it kind of clumps in with potions a little. So, but I mean, have we even done an episode on potions?
I'm not sure that we have.
I don't think so. So that's what we're talking about. But first, what are we drinking? The most important thing. We are drinking some of our mulled wine, and it's super good, delicious, and it's that time of year where it's starting to be a little colder and crisp outside. So that's what we were in the mood for. And I know I made a TikTok on it, or we made a TikTok on it.
We did a
last year.
TikTok on a simmer pot. I don't know if we ever did them. We might have done the mulled wine.
I think we've done a mulled wine.
And I think on
It's a
our
fan
Patreon,
fave.
you posted a recipe, didn't you?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
So, but you can make it with any red wine that you have. We recently got together and we opened up a bottle of wine that you had, and it was delicious. It was
delicious.
Austrian red wine. It was really good. And I mean, today I'm having a cheap red wine from like Trader Joe's or something like that. So, yeah, we have very different lives, you and I.
Yes.
And so you just take whatever red wine, and then you add sugar, cinnamon sticks, orange slices, lemons, whatever you want. Apples, I think, are very good in it. Any fruit, really. And then you simmer it. So not only does it taste amazing, but it smells fantastic while it's, bubbling and simmering, and it just gives your home that warm smell.
It's kind of a simmer pot wine. I mean, two birds with one stone.
Yes. It's delicious. And I mean, I add a shit ton of sugar to make a bitter red wine sweet.
And me, not so much.
Yeah. You're more like when we made ours this past
together
weekend, I did a little bit of sugar, and then after I gave you your cup, I added more sugar to my cup.
Yeah, and mine was perfect without the extra sugar, and hers was perfect with the extra sugar. So,
yes.
So it's actually kind of an elixir now that we've done this episode. I was like, we actually kind of did an elixir for this one. So what is an elixir? There are tons of definitions out there, but one definition is that it is a magical or medicinal potion. Wikipedia says an elixir is a sweet liquid. See, that's what we just did. Used for medical purposes. Yeah, to feel better.
Yeah. Okay.
To be taken orally and intended to cure one's illness, which today I'm in a funk, so it's curing my funkness.
Your funkness. Curing your funkness. Got it.
My funkness. I'm in a funk. Magicalspot.com says an elixir is a magical potion designed to bring about transformation, or a medical potion designed to bring about healthy change over a long period of time. Most elixirs are designed to bring about change in a person's body, mind, or spirit. Elixirs usually contain a combination of herbs, often with an alcohol base, and may also contain minerals, or they may have been created using essences of herbs and crystals. And Ren is going to talk more about how to make elixir later. Elixirs also refer to drinks meant to give health and vitality, only they are not infused. Rather, powders and extracts are dissolved in a water or alcohol base, and it's usually sweetened with honey, syrup, mashed fruits, or other sweeteners.
I thought you were going to say mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes.
It's almost that time. It's almost Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it is. We haven't even talked about Thanksgiving. I just jumped right into Christmas and Yule.
I know, me too. I'm ready.
I already have my tree up.
That's awesome. We're going to do mine this weekend, so I'm excited about that.
That'll be a lot of fun.
You should come over. Maybe you can come over.
Let's see what I can talk my husband into.
If we do, we'll try to post Instagram pictures and
Yes.
Facebook pictures if we manage that.
Maybe, because we always forget.
We do always forget. We have too much fun.
Yes.
So elixirs are a type of energetic potion in a sense. They are nature-based cocktails for well-being. They might even be thought of as liquid cures, although we're not claiming that about anything. We have to preface everything we say.
Yeah.
We're not claiming that any of these things we're talking about are cures. We're just reporting on what our research has shown us.
Found research-wise, which anybody can find via links in Google.
Absolutely. The World Wide Web.
The World
as my
Wide
dad
Web.
calls it.
LOL.
Well, before he passed anyway, he was like,
Okay.
the World Wide Web.
The World Wide Web.
Really, Dad?
And old people.
I know. Old people. Okay. So is an elixir a potion or is it a tincture? What's the difference? Because as I was doing this, I'm like, well, isn't it a potion then? And there were contradictory things.
I think they're all different in their own way.
They
can also be used interchangeably, which is confusing.
Yeah. And I found one site, and I don't know that I agree 100% with all of what she said, but it was a pretty good breakout of the differences. So I thought I would report on this. A potion, it refers to a liquid drug or magic substance which must be drunk to notice its effects.
Oh, okay.
The effects can either be curative, magical, beneficial, negative, or poisonous.
Ooh.
An elixir refers to a curative drink or those with positive biological properties. Elixirs can contain 15 to 50% alcohol to dissolve the magical or active compound.
Okay.
An infusion refers to a plant extract in water that can be drunk, which I found that interesting because I was trying to think.
Define plant extract.
Yeah, because I guess like coffee is a plant extract.
Would you say like a mojito because you have like the mint in it and you extract like the mint flavors would be an infusion?
It's a magical infusion. And then a tincture refers to a plant extract with a high content of alcohol that can be drunk. So maybe that would be the mojito. Or with a high content of ethers that can be applied to the skin.
Or does the like tincture refer to like a plant extract with a high, like the plant itself has a high like content of alcohol?
I don't know.
Like the plant itself is alcoholic.
I like alcoholic plants. I'm going to have to go meet my bros out there.
Roll around in a field of plants and get intoxicated.
Yeah, she's going to be out in the fields rolling around with her little tincture plant people out there. Plant critters.
Alcoholic plants. Okay.
The effects of a tincture are usually medicinal or sedative, like they used to give laudanum for people back in the day before they had modern pain medications. A lotion or salve, a lotion refers to a topical preparation like an oil or a fluid cream that's applied to the skin, and a salve refers to a cream or gel that's applied on the skin.
Okay.
So in the strict sense of the words, all of these words, elixirs are potions and tinctures can be potions, but potions aren't just elixirs or tinctures.
Yes.
And tinctures can also be lotions. And infusions can be or not be potions.
Do you know what I think that we all need for this type of stuff?
What?
A journal.
A journal can never have
be able to write all of this, and we need to like create like a web. So like say lotion, and then have an arrow to can be tincture, not potion. Potion can be an elixir. No, wait. Elixirs can be potions. See, I'm already confused. Right?
I know, me too.
It's like a whole web that we need to make.
We need that. Yeah. It's and then to make it even more confusing, different witches use these terms differently.
Yes.
So what one might say is a
Yes.
potion, someone else might say, oh no, that's not a potion, that's a
It's
tincture, or
yeah, it's all like interchangeable in some senses, but in some other senses it's not.
yeah, it's very confusing. But
Yes.
tell us about the history of elixirs.
Yeah, so I'm always going to hit you guys with some history. So
Okay.
I just wanted to get like a brief understanding of like alchemy to altogether. So like an
Mm-hmm.
overview of like ancient alchemy. And this would be between 300 BCE and 1600 CE.
Okay.
So ancient alchemy had its roots in, oh, what else? Egypt
Egypt.
and Greece. And I feel like, why does all of our stuff go back to Egypt, or like that's the earliest time that we can
maybe
see something like that?
maybe there weren't records prior to that time.
That's what I'm thinking. Like they're the only
Mm-hmm.
ones that we know of. So we just say, oh, okay, Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because
what,
they were very civilized, both Egypt and Greece. And so
yes.
they did have written records of everything.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's why
That's
we so
why we
much can
know
be
all of
traced
this.
back to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in Egypt and Greece, they were aimed to transform base metals into gold.
Mm-hmm.
You have like the Egypt wanting to always have like gold and
Mm-hmm.
what's the word? Like prosper in the afterlife. So the more you
Mm-hmm.
had, yeah. And then they also wanted to work through to find the discovery of the Philosopher's Stone, which I know we talked
Mm-hmm.
about this in where?
I don't know. One of our episodes. I don't know. Could have been an after dark.
Maybe. I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't know
So,
either.
so alchemists during this time experimented with a variety of substances, including like minerals, metals, and herbs in their alchemy. And
Mm-hmm.
so in this time, elixirs and alchemists sought to find the elixir of life, believed to grant immortality. And I know we've talked about this
Yeah, somewhere.
somewhere. So this elixir was often associated with the transmutation of the base elements within the alchemy laboratory based on the minerals and metals that were found, like the
Mm-hmm.
combinations, which
Yeah,
I thought was cool because when you think about Egypt and Greece, you don't think about alchemy so much.
that's
And I
true.
thought this was cool.
Yeah, and did you know that the ancient Greeks believed that the gods ate and drank things that's what gave them immortality
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
what they ate and drank. And so ambrosia is what they thought gave the Greek gods their immortality. And it came from the horns of the goat that was the foster mother of Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
And it's believed that ambrosia could heal scars, cure diseases, raise people from the dead, and banish death completely. So
Wow.
there was a lot of experimentation and research trying to find, how do we create ambrosia for mortals to become immortal?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also in China, but I don't know what time frame. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if it belongs in this time frame, but there was an ancient emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, and as he entered middle age, he grew more and more afraid of dying,
Mm-hmm.
and he became obsessed with finding an elixir of life for immortality. And
Mm-hmm.
so the court alchemists were devoted day and night to trying to find potions for the emperor, but many of them contained quicksilver, which is mercury, which slowly, ironically, affected the um, emperor, causing his death rather than
Yeah.
preventing it.
Yeah, they should have been testing it on other people other than him. Like,
First, right?
you
But then
know,
see, he didn't want anybody else to become immortal.
define
Yeah.
immortality
I guess he just wanted to live as he was forever.
forever, but like in a sense of like if somebody else was tested on with this potion, like is it or immortality in the way where you can't inflict harm on the person? So like they're
I,
like
I
rubber
think
or
so.
whatever, or
So then he
it's
would have
just
made all
you're
these.
not gonna grow old, but you still have to do like, the daily thing of like eat and all of that. You're just not gonna grow old. You're still
I think he
vulnerable.
he was thinking that it would do away with the vulnerability as well. And so
Hmm.
he couldn't really test it on slaves and whatnot because then he would have a whole bunch of immortal slaves. So,
I guess
you
that's
know,
true. I don't know.
so
It just makes sense to me because if, you know, you don't want to die, and then you're over here taking these weird potions
Yeah,
that
let's
could
see if this
kill
works.
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for real.
yeah.
So, in the Middle East, no,
Middle
medieval,
Earth.
yeah, medieval and Renaissance era of alchemy. And this is about 500 to 1600 CE.
Okay.
So and this time alchemy evolved during the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, and this is where they started incorporating more mystical and spiritual elements into their alchemy. So alchemists like Paracelsus,
Sounds good.
Clesius explored the concept of the elixir of life and spiritual transformation. See, with the elixir and the elixir of life, it makes me wonder where this came from, because you have these people searching for an elixir of life for immortality, but where did the idea of an elixir of life come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, other than the
Like the
Greeks thought it was,
gods.
yeah. But that also reminds me of As Above, So Below, the movie,
Mm-hmm.
because it was the Philosopher's Stone and
Yeah.
that one that she was looking for, right?
Yes.
So that was also, and that actually wasn't an elixir.
Yeah, it
It
was
was a
like it was a
stone.
stone itself.
Yeah, kind of.
So kind of, yeah, because
Mm.
the end was
Yeah, well, don't spoil it,
good.
people.
It's been
The
out since
end
like
was good.
2013.
That's true. Y'all have seen it. If y'all haven't seen it,
It's
go see
very
it.
good.
It is one of my all-time favorite
It's one of
movies.
my favorite. I think it is probably my favorite movie,
Hmm.
other than, my normal nerdy The Hobbit movies. I
Hmm.
love The
Hmm.
Hobbit. Anyways, so the search for this philosopher's stone and the elixir of life continued. See, and this search, confuses me, because where did these
Hmm.
come from? Where did
Yeah,
the
why did they think it was something to be found? That
Yeah,
that makes you think it must have been lost.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but these elixirs were often associated with the spiritual enlightenment and the purification of one's soul, or specifically the alchemist soul, during these times.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
did you know that coffee is an ancient brew?
oh,
Speaking of coffee earlier, and I don't know if it was China that I don't know where coffee came from, but long, long, long time ago, and it was actually considered an elixir because it delivers that boost of energy at the caffeine in it.
yeah.
A cup of coffee is warm and luxurious, and it makes you feel warm on cold days when your bones feel cold.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee breaks in today's world are a powerful generator of office congeniality. It's where the colleagues all gather in the break
Oh,
room to have
yeah.
coffee, and
Mm-hmm.
it promotes talking and people getting along. And it does the same for families. Families gather at breakfast and have their cup of coffee and talk about their day coming up. And it also has medicinal issues, which I think also makes it a potential elixir, in that it's supposed to help with heart disease, cancer, liver disease, and gout, according to some studies.
Hmm.
And I think my husband's blood is pretty much all coffee. He drinks
Yeah,
coffee
when
all
when
the time.
whenever we're over there, it's always like, "Hey, do you want a cup of coffee?" No, man, it's like
And I'm
3 p.m.
like,
I don't
no,
want a
she
cup of
wants
coffee.
alcohol.
Between you and your husband, do you want alcohol? Do you want coffee? I'm like, no, I just want a glass of water right now.
With alcohol or with coffee grinds.
It's hilarious. Yeah, for real. It's hilarious. You guys are something else.
We're fun.
No, but I swear, your husband, you're right. He lives,
He does.
breathes,
Yeah.
bleeds coffee.
And he's a coffee snob.
Snob.
Yeah, he
Only wants the
knows.
highest
Yeah, he knows the
coffee.
good coffees and the bad coffees. And some of the ones that are like supposed to be elitist, like Starbucks, he hates Starbucks.
Oh,
He
I don't
says it
like
tastes
Starbucks either.
he says
Like
it
that
tastes
coffee.
skunky to him, but it's
Yeah.
supposed to be a really good coffee, but he doesn't
Hmm.
like that one. He's very
Has
picky.
Have you heard of the coffee where it's like a badger or whatever eats a coffee ground and their bodies don't digest it, so they just poop out coffee grinds, and then the people take it and then grind it up and sell it
Make
as
it into
a very,
coffee.
very expensive coffee.
That's gross.
Has he ever had any
I
of
have
that?
no idea. I'll have to ask. He won't know if he has because I don't think he would have done that on purpose.
Yeah, no, you have to buy it purposefully for like
Oh,
it's very expensive. Like
then I don't think so.
it's like, oh, it passes through the gut of this animal, which purifies the coffee bean, and then we take the bean and clean it and ground it up
I
and
mean,
all of that.
he's not a snob in real life, just when it comes to his coffee, and I
Hmm.
don't see him agreeing to ever drink a coffee bean that passed through the guts of an animal and came out in their poop. I just don't see it.
Is that an early Christmas gift idea?
Here's your poop coffee, baby.
Yeah, poor man. Oh man. Okay. So now we're moving into the 17th and 19th century. We've jumped quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I always pronounce this wrong, the Hermetism
I
and
think that's
Western
right.
esoteric,
Hermeticism,
Hermeticism. I don't know. And
Yeah.
Western esoteric. I remember I've struggled with that last time. Esoteric
Mm-hmm.
traditions, where we talked a little bit. See, we've talked about this
Yeah,
before,
we
but
have
what
talked about. I hope we haven't. I know we haven't done an elixir one
we haven't
before.
done an elixir one, but we have talked. I think it was an after dark.
Okay.
Was it? You guys let us
I
know. I
don't
don't
know.
know.
You all will have to tell us.
Where in these times they took a lot of what they had learned in ancient Egypt and Greek studies that we have, like all the information that we have from
Mm-hmm.
them, and turned it to play a role in shaping the Western esoteric traditions and how they viewed alchemy. So now
Okay.
instead of, having that mystical and spiritual element that the medieval and Renaissance had, now they're kind of back into what the
Mm-hmm.
Egyptians and Greeks were working on. And so this alchemy kind of symbolized what the Egyptians were, and then had the spiritual practices integrated into those traditions,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So now the elixirs were considered as tools for spiritual ascension and transformation, instead of just being like a concept of
Okay.
elixir in life. And so they actually started incorporating them into their, whatever you want to call it, their
Yeah.
alchemy
Spiritual.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a pursuit of inner alchemy, symbolic of spiritual growth, and everything like that was
Yeah.
emphasized basically during
Yeah.
these times.
And that mercury I was telling you about earlier,
Hmm.
that was one of the most common used ingredients by alchemists in trying to make that elixir of life. And it's quite poisonous. And so they were using this, and I don't know what made them think that mercury could I mean, it is a cool looking, it looks
Hmm.
magical.
Yeah.
If you've ever broken a thermometer and seen the liquid mercury, it looks quite cool,
Yeah.
magical.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine looking at that and going, let's drink it. It might make me immortal. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know. Like, and it has to have like a metal taste. Like, it has to not taste good.
In Harry Potter, when the unicorn was killed,
Hmm.
the unicorn blood looked like liquid mercury. It
Hmm.
was that silver.
Yeah.
I bet that's where the author got that idea from, is from alchemists using that mercury, and she made it be
Probably.
the
Yeah.
unicorn blood
Yeah. But
because
still,
Voldemort was
but
drinking it. Yeah.
I mean, in a way of what humans, and like based on studies that I've had throughout school, a lot of the actual real immortality is like staying not relevant, but like remembered.
Ah,
That's a way to be immortal in a sense,
that's true.
not living immortal, but
But being remembered.
you're
Yeah.
remembered, so therefore your legacy lives on and you're remembered throughout generations. So that's a
Hmm.
form of mortality. What am I saying?
Immortality.
Immortality. Wow. And so maybe, just maybe, with the mercury being in all of these things and you're being tested on or whatever with these potions, and it looks cool, and then you die, and it's like, well, they'll be remembered as this
Maybe.
one who,
Or they're thinking, damn, that broccoli was bad. It's what killed him. It couldn't be the
oh,
mercury that
it's
we put
not the
into it.
potion, it's not the elixir that we made, it's the bad, like they had a bad fish the night
Yeah, there
before.
you go. Yeah.
Jeez. Man, I mean, I could see it. Like I could see a lot
I
of
could
things because
too.
they didn't have all the science to break it down and say, yep, this is good, this is bad, this is what causes
And
this.
wasn't was it mercury? What was it that they hat makers used to make that, the term mad as a hatter? Um,
Hmm,
was it mercury as well?
I don't know.
It was something that made them crazy because they were working with it and it got in through their skin
Oh,
and
I
it
don't, and
happened
didn't it make them
slowly.
glow green? Or am I
That
thinking of
I don't
something
know.
else?
I don't know, but I do know that it happened so slowly that it was hard back for them back in the day to pin it on that because
Hmm.
so it must have been that fish that he ate last night because he died today,
Yes,
as
yeah.
opposed to the mercury
The
or whatever it
slowly
was
killing
that,
of mercury.
yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
interesting.
Maybe we're way off topic, but that makes me wonder what like superstitions and foods that we, you know, contribute to, oh, don't eat that, that's bad, it'll bring you bad luck, blah blah blah.
Uh-huh.
What of those are like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like
Hmm. They
what?
just happened to be what they were
Yes.
eating at the time they died or
Uh-huh. So
whatever.
now us in our current days, no, that's bad because we
Hmm.
didn't understand. Anyways, okay.
Yep. Yep.
So now I'm still talking about a little bit of history, but now we're kind of getting into witchcraft and
Hmm.
how elixirs work in witchcraft and all of that.
Okay.
And so, like an overview of like mm, witchcraft and folk traditions with elixirs, where folk magic and witchcraft traditions, often rooted in local customs and practices, included the creation of magical potions and elixirs. So
Hmm.
these varied, obviously worldwide across different cultures. But in witchcraft, kind of elixirs and folk tradition are often associated with like practical purposes such as healing, protection, and divination. And then a big
Ah.
one is love potions or love elixirs,
Hmm.
brews, or enhancing magical abilities across these traditions.
Okay.
And so in the 19th and early 20th centuries, there was a resurgence of interest in mysticism, the occultism,
Oh yeah, that we always talk
spiritualism.
about. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so came the, integration and resurgence of elixirs being popular in alchemy, and many people looking at that, especially in the secret societies like the hermetic, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah, hermetic. Hmm.
hermetic order of the Golden Dawn, which I know we've talked about this.
We have. I really
Yes,
have no idea what the topic would have been because it
me
definitely
neither.
wasn't elixirs.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. So this was then integrated into alchemy and principles into their teachings, which taught like quote unquote secret societies like witches
Right.
or
Hmm.
but not called witches in that time. So
Hmm.
then elixirs were linked to spiritual practices and symbolic religions, no, rituals,
Rituals. Yeah.
where Aleister Crowley, a key figure in the
Hmm.
occultism, explored alchemy concepts in his work, influencing the development of magical practices.
Yeah.
So then now we get to the, new age and contemporary practices of the 20th century and onward.
Hmm.
So now we're kind of in this weird, you know, we know all this history, we know what an elixir is, we know all of this stuff, we have much interest in all of this, but how do we
We
use
have
it?
we have science that also is
Yes.
played into our
Yes.
understanding of elixirs.
So this
Yeah.
new age movement brought a new renowned interest in alternative like methods in spiritual practice and holistic healing and the
Oh yeah.
exploration of the esoteric traditions from around the world. So
Hmm.
now modern magical elixirs often draw from a variety of cultures and spiritual traditions, which include herbs, crystals, and other natural elements with an emphasis on personal intention and intuition and a holistic well-being. I'm really messing this up.
Yeah,
Holistic
that
well-being.
that is interesting. I mean, in 2000, did you know?
Okay.
In 2015, there were Russian scientists that began injecting mice with that. You remember? I don't know if you remember hearing about this, with this 3.5 million year old bacteria that they found in the Siberian permafrost as
I
the
I didn't know they
Earth
were
has begun.
injecting it into mice.
Yeah, as the permafrost started to melt because of the global warming,
Yeah.
they found this bacteria and they started to experiment with it. And what they said, they claimed that it was successful in prolonging life. They reported that after being injected, little mice grannies not only began to dance, but also produced offspring.
Oh,
And supposedly one of them even injected it into themselves, but there's no
ugh.
verification of any of that. But even today, we're still looking for this immortality elixir, even
Like
today.
I get it, but I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's the circle of life. It's obviously terrifying to have that daunting, like we're gonna die. Like, every now and then somebody like I'll sit down and be like, gosh, none of this really matters because we're all gonna
Mm-hmm.
be dead in 100 years and nobody's gonna
Mm-hmm.
remember us anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So unless if you're an actor or whatever, like you should live your life to the fullest and do what you want,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know, finding an elixir that would make me immortal or having like hoping a vampire will come sweep me off my feet to turn me immortal has never really
Well,
been a big thing of mine.
it also could be the biggest curse because, like you had said earlier, what does immortality mean? That you live forever, but
Hmm.
you keep getting older and older and older. So are you going to be like a decaying 800-year-old person,
Yeah.
but still alive?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be you are frozen at your current age and your body doesn't change or what? It depends on what it is as to whether it's really worth chasing or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So
So
it's,
tell us
yeah. Okay.
what are the basics of making an
So
elixir?
I know I tell you, we sound like a broken record,
Yes. Similar
but
to any spell, but
yes, but the basics of making an elixir, any elixir is setting your intention where you
mhm,
have to clearly define your purpose and all
mhm,
of that. And then you're going to want to have your ingredients. Ingredients in this are very important. You have herbs that you could use, crystals, um, anything that will fit your intentions. I
mhm,
would say, what else? I mean, if dry leaves, if you're doing like an autumnal type of
mhm,
elixir, dry leaves, if you're not going to drink it, dry leaves from outside, dirt, soil, water from the
mhm.
river, whatever it may be. Ingredients are very important.
Yes.
And then you're going to want to have your base: water, oil, honey, alcohol, whatever it
Woo!
may be. Woo woo. And this depends on what you're using it for.
Mhm,
So now you're going to want a container. Use glass to brew or store your elixir in. I have these like
mhm,
little tiny bottles, which are really
mhm.
cute.
They are cute.
And I think an elixir would be really nice in them.
Mhm,
And then you're going to want a mortar and pestle or something to at least grind your ingredients together or herbs
mhm.
or whatever it may be. So
Yep.
then you're also off of that, you're going to want a strainer, a filter, or a cheesecloth to filter out particles out of whatever it may be. So let's say you want to infuse your elixir. So you have let's say oil,
Mhm,
and you have a little bit of garlic and herbs, and you let your oil seep for a week or two so it's
mhm.
infused in your oil, and then you don't want any of that in your elixir because you're wanting to cook with it or
Right.
something like that. Then you take a cheesecloth to filter out your particles.
Yeah.
See, look, the kitchen witch in me is coming out because
I know
the
that when
first
I
thing
was
that came to my mind was, oh, I want to infuse an oil to cook with it.
yeah, when I was doing research for this, I'm like, this is 100% kitchen witchery right here,
Yes, but
making
you
these
can also
elixirs.
make it not kitchen witchery.
You're right, but it
That's not
it
my
brought you to
my intent.
mind.
So then now like a procedure to, go forth after you have all of the
Hmm.
thingies that you
The
would need,
thingies.
the
You've
thingies,
gathered all your
you've
thingies.
gathered all your thingies and now you're ready to make your elixir.
Hmm.
So you're going to cleanse your workspace and your tools.
Hmm.
So whether that's sage, incense, water to cleanse your stuff, you clean it,
Hmm.
all of
Hmm.
that, whatever it may be. Then you're going to create your space like a sacred and whatever you need for
Hmm.
preparation. So for instance, it's me going into the kitchen, casting a circle, whatever it may be. What would yours be?
I don't know. Probably my altar. I don't know that I would do it in the kitchen. Maybe.
I like my kitchen, so
I know you do. Yeah,
so
I don't know.
for me it would be, I would probably cast it in the kitchen, and I'm an incense person. I love incense, so I probably clean the area with incense. Probably use water because I love water. I love washing my hands. It just feels so cleansing. So I would probably use water to cleanse probably the bottle, probably maybe if I have a spoon or whatever I would need, I would cleanse everything like that with water, and then cleanse the entire kitchen space with the incense. And then you're going to select your ingredients. So you're going to charge your crystals, if applicable, in the moon, sun, salt, running water, etc. And then you're going to grind your herbs and prepare ingredients as needed. So you could grind fresh herbs that helps release the, what would you say, like energies that they have, magical properties.
And it makes them smell really good too.
It does smell like if you have mint, like lemon mint. I had lemon mint that I grew for a little while until I killed it. Sorry. And
sorry, Greg.
Yeah, it smells so good. And then you're going to combine these ingredients by focusing on your intentions as you do. So then you're going to add your liquid base. You're going to pour the chosen liquid over the ingredients. The liquid will serve as a carrier for the magical properties of whatever your intention is.
You're using, right.
So then you're going to stir with intent. So whether you have a magical spoon, a wooden dowel thingy, a knife, whatever you want to stir with, you mix it with that and you stir with intention. Then you're going to charge your elixir. So again, you can charge it by setting it out in the sun, setting it out in the moon, setting it under running water, whatever it may be. And then after you've charged it, after you've let it set, you're going to strain if needed. So then you're going to take whatever you strain out if you need to. If not, you're already ready, set to go, bottle stored, all of that. So now whether it's in a bottle or a vial or a cup or whatever, like if you have like sometimes I make things in my little, KitchenAid.
Tupperware.
Like glass, like they're glass, and you can
the glass Tupperware things.
Those, you don't have to be a bougie person and have a cute little bottle with a cork in it. You don't need to have all that. You can just use a Tupperware container if that's what you need. So then you store it in a cool, dark place, or even in the refrigerator, depending on what your elixir contains, and label it to make sure nobody else will touch it, or if you need the date on it so that you know when to use it by, or anything. You can also write on it to set intentions and purpose and all of that. Just label it as you need. And this is also a good space where you can put symbols or sigils on it to infuse it. So like one of the little glass bottles, you could do like a little sigil on the outside. And if it's something that you're not needing to open, but I feel like it's an elixir you would need to open at some point, you could use wax to seal it. But maybe if you seal it, then that creates something, and then breaking that seal also does something.
Also maybe could charge the elixir as well.
Yep. There's so many possibilities. I love this.
I do too. I love witchcraft. Me too.
So when you use the elixir in your witchcraft practices, it could be something like anointing candles, tools for yourself, incorporate it into your spells or potions. And then if you drink it, you should be safe. Make sure it's safe to drink and make sure it aligns with your intention.
That's a very, very good list of the basics of how to do elixirs. So let's talk about... I just hit
you guys fast with it. Boom, bam.
Let's talk about the types of elixirs. So you can make a crystal elixir. Now, as I say, I'm going to list out a whole bunch of different types, but generally an elixir is a mixture of a whole bunch of these different things together. Like you might have herbs and crystals or whatever, but I'm going to go through and talk about each type individually first.
Okay.
So crystal is first, and this is an elixir that's used, obviously, making crystals. So generally you place the crystal into the liquid and it's allowed to sit for a specific time. Guys, we've got to really make sure that you understand the safety aspect of
Yes.
elixirs.
Yes.
There are so many poisonous things out there. Always check to make sure that the crystal you're wanting to use is non-toxic. Also, be sure to research all about the crystal before using it in elixir, because it may be non-toxic on its own, but once you put it into a liquid, it could
Yes.
dissolve into something that's
Yes.
toxic.
Yes.
There are some crystals that should never be used or put in any kind of liquid due to the damage of the crystal itself, because there are non-water safe crystals out
Yes.
there, or that toxicity that I'm talking about. So do your research, do your due diligence. And while some witches do place a crystal directly into the liquid, there's also ways to imbue the elixir without direct contact. There was one witch, she said she will never, ever, ever put a crystal directly into the liquid of the elixir. She said that is just something she would never do. So what she does is she picks out her stones that she wants to use, and she places them inside a sterilized glass that contains no water or liquid. And then you place this small sterilized container into a larger sterilized container that does have the liquid. And the energetic vibration of the crystals is transmitted through the glass container into the water without having to physically touch that water.
Okay.
And then she says you cover the container with a lid or plastic wrap or whatever you have. Allow your stones to sit in that water for at least a few hours. And sometimes it could be days. It could be that you want it to charge through an entire season of the moon. You want it to get all the new moon all the way through the new moon again. However you're going to do it. But then she said, when you add the alcohol as a preservative, you need to do it in a 1-to-1 ratio of alcohol to water. So you can use a glass dropper to do this, which also needs to be sterilized. But what you're going for is your finished elixir should be 50% alcohol and 50% water. Okay. So that you have 2 ounces of energy infused water and if you have 2 ounces to 2 ounces is what I'm trying to say. Equal ratios.
Okay.
And then you remove the small inner container with the stones in it and pour the correct amount of the energy infused water that's left in the big container with the alcohol to mix after the crystals have done their thing. You're going to mix the water that was in that bigger container with the alcohol.
Okay.
Label it, as we said. You need to know what date you made it, what date you need to use it by, what it is, because sometimes when you're making elixirs, you make a bunch of them. Yeah. And you don't want to pull them out and go, was this one the healing one, or was this one the sex one? That could be really bad if we, mix those up. So label it, store it in a cool, dark place for up to 30 days. But if you see any signs of microbial growth, then you need to discard it. Also, keep these out of reach of children and pets if you have children, obviously.
Yeah.
And then for those witches that use actual contact with the water and the crystal, you cleanse the crystal by whatever means is appropriate for that stone, as well as whatever your intent for your spell is. Place the crystal into the water. It can be fresh water, spring water, perhaps moon-charged water, sun-charged water. And the molecular structure of water is influenced by the vibration and frequencies of that stone. And then, as Rin said, glass containers are the best use of container because it amplifies the power of the crystals. And then you leave it to rest and charge. Just like Rin said, under the sun, under the moon, choose whatever phase of the moon it is that you're going for. Filter the water through a tea or coffee filter or a cheesecloth, like Rin said, to get rid of any debris. Add alcohol. Now, when I'm talking about alcohol with elixirs, if you're going to be drinking it, and probably even if you aren't because it's so dangerous otherwise, you want to have it to be a drinking alcohol, like a vodka. Yep. Or a gin, or whatever it is that you need, whatever goes with your intent. Now, as we have said, I want to reiterate, be very, very careful of what type of crystals you use. And if you're placing them directly into the water, if you plan to drink it, do your research. We're not kidding. We're absolutely not kidding. Did you know that cinnabar, which is also known as mercury sulfide, is one of the most toxic minerals and crystals that you can handle on Earth.
Really?
Yes. And blue crocodilite contains asbestos. There's a whole list of gems and crystals that contain asbestos. Tiger's eye contains asbestos.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, now sometimes it's okay to touch it. It's if you're sawing it or trying to cut it, that's when the asbestos is released. So just do your research to find out what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next type would be herbal elixirs. And those are pretty much known as teas. That's basically a tea or a coffee, I suppose. So they're made from herbal extracts, fresh or dried plant leaves or roots. There are safe medicinal. Wow, I'm really struggling. Safe medicinal herbs like chamomile, hibiscus, lemon balm. They can be used either individually or you can do an herbal mixture, which Ren's got a whole list of actual elixirs that she found out there that she's going to read through, which I think is very cool. Curative plant elixirs are infusions usually made to heal or soothe the effects of certain conditions. Did you know that kombucha, I always hear different people pronouncing it different ways. It is that drink. We have a friend who actually came down from New York and I pronounce it kombucha, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be kombucha.
I think it's kombucha.
Yeah, we all know how I am with pronunciations, but she loves it. So when she came down to visit, I got some for her, but it's a fermented drink that is made from a base of tea, sugar, bacteria, and yeast. It originated in China about 2,000 years ago and has been growing in popularity at health stores and holistic health places since in the modern day. And those who drink it for their health benefits. It's supposed to make it, you have this bacteria and yeast and tea and sugar, and it's allowed to ferment. And the result is this beverage that is kind of fizzy. Some people say it tastes like fizzy apple cider. Some say it tastes like wine. Some say it tastes like vinegar. I wasn't a fan. Wasn't my favorite. But it is an example of an elixir that's been around for a long, long time that involves tea that is gaining in popularity today. The next type of elixir is an aromatic elixir. And I had never even thought of this as being an elixir. So aromatic elixirs are remedies that are made with water and drops of essential oils to create a specific healing effect. Aromatic elixirs are usually inhaled or applied topically and are sometimes taken orally if medically approved of. But that, what that reminds me of? I don't know if your mom did this, but when I was a kid, when I got sick, they would rub that Vicks vapor rub on my chest. That's what an aromatic elixir is. And that scent would, it would help clear your nose or whatever. So that's what it is. But most of them are made with some percentage of alcohol due to the solubility of certain compounds. So I had never thought of aromatic elixirs ever before until I researched this.
It's interesting because, it goes along the lines of like inhaling something. I don't know. I just feel funny about that.
Well, when I was a kid, if she didn't put it on my chest directly, because it really was a strong smell, I had a humidifier that she would put a Vicks. And so the humidifier would spray out the droplets of this elixir, the aromatic elixir that was supposed to help keep my nose, clear and that kind of thing. Fascinating. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Fruit and veggie elixirs. Fruits and vegetable elixirs are usually healing antioxidant elixirs that are used to rejuvenate and refresh us. They are made of freshly cut pieces of fruit and or vegetables and fresh water. So what is the Mexican drink, that agua fresca? Is that the right way to say that? I don't speak Spanish.
I've heard of an aqua fresca, but I don't know what
it's like a bubbling water or a mineral water, and then it has flavor in it. Kind of like the drinks that you don't like that I like, the La Croix.
Like the La Croix.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think that would be a fruit elixir.
Okay, I could
But
see that.
it makes me think of V8, a veggie elixir. So if
Mm-hmm.
I get a can of V8 and I add alcohol to make a Bloody Mary, then
Oh my gosh.
I'm just drinking a veggie elixir. Honey,
I
I,
guess.
I'm not drinking for breakfast. It's a veggie elixir.
I guess.
Yeah, she's just looking at me.
It makes
Welcome to
sense.
my
It does
husband's
make
world.
sense.
But they're usually left to rest for a few hours and are kept in certain conditions and temperatures for the water in the fruit to release the vitamins and minerals
Hmm.
into the water. And that's
Hmm.
the kind that probably needs to go in the refrigerator
Yeah.
because you don't want it to start rotting. There are natural sugars and things in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next type of elixir is a mixture of some or all of the above. You can
Hmm.
use all kinds of things. So, what are some examples of elixirs? Now that we've talked about what they are and how they might be made, what are some real ones that we might want to consider? And Ren did a great job in finding a whole bunch of really cool ones.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this because who knew that elixirs could be this fun, you
I
know?
know, I know.
And there's so many like ways that you could make them to where you can make them edible, you can make them not edible, you can
Hmm.
infuse them, you could, use it in cooking,
You could
there's a
spray
lot of
your
uses.
pillow with it if if it's something that you're
Yeah.
going for the spiritual realm, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah,
So I just really liked it. And of course, the first one that came up in my research was a love elixir,
of
like a love
course.
spell or a love potion. It's a love elixir.
Okay.
And so for this one, you would need rose petals, jasmine, vanilla, or other herbs associated with love. Like,
Okay.
I think jasmine and vanilla are pretty good. Rose petals, I can't think
Rose
of
petals
anything
for
else.
sure.
Um,
Crystal might be the pink quartz
yeah,
or the
like you
rose
could use a
quartz.
rose quartz in it,
Hmm.
like anything associated with love in this case.
Hmm.
Now it could be, you could even, if you're not drinking it, you could use like pink or red candle wax type of thing,
Hmm.
whatever it may be.
That's a good idea. Hmm.
Hmm. And then this purpose of a love elixir would be attracting love, enhancing relationships, or fostering self-love, which I like that one.
I do too. That's a
Self-love.
great idea. We all should do that one
Yeah, because
for self-love.
when you think of a love elixir, you're like, oh, you want somebody to fall in love with you or what it may
Hmm.
be, but it could be helping you fall in love with yourself.
I love that idea.
Hmm.
I think a
Hmm.
lot of women need that, and men too,
I
honestly.
think a lot of people need
A
that.
lot of people need
Hmm.
that.
And then another elixir is a protection elixir.
Okay.
Elixir. Say elixir like
Elixir.
750 gajillion times fast. And so for this one, you could use basil, black salt, rue. I know that what is it? Thyme is good for
Protection.
protection. Like there's a
Okay.
lot. Sage is also good for protection and
Hmm.
other crystals associated with it. And the purpose of this would to be to ward off evil or negativity, provide spiritual protection, enhancing personal safety, whatever it may be.
And when you were doing this research, did they say you drink these to make them work or you dab them on your
I
skin or
I
did it
think
say?
it did not say. These are just types that you can create. And I feel like it's
Okay.
up to, the individual to know if they want it to be consumed or used on their skin or
Because
an
I feel like,
aromatic one.
yeah, with the love elixir, rose petals, jasmine, vanilla, all of those are edible.
Hmm.
So I don't see a problem with making an elixir and drinking that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then you can have a clarity and focus elixir
I need
where
that.
yeah, you could use mint or rosemary, lavender and all of that, whatever's associated with that mental clarity.
Hmm.
And the purpose of this elixir would to be enhancing concentration. I have a hard time concentrating, so this would be a good one
Hmm.
for
Me too.
me. Improving focus, promoting clear thinking. Um
Okay.
all of that. And then healing elixir is another one. So you could use ingredients like chamomile, ginger. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the one that I put there.
Echinacea.
Echinacea, which
Yeah, that's
okay.
supposed to be, it's a new popular herb supplement that they say helps prevent colds and things like that.
Okay.
Echinacea.
Okay. And then again, any crystals associated with healing. When I'm talking about these, like these are just ideas and ideas of ingredients. You can use whatever you feel is
For
enhancing
sure,
that,
because every witch has their own way of looking at things, and what one of us associates with something, the another one is like, no, not for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
Yeah.
love for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in these healing elixirs, they can be used to support physical health, aiding recovery, promoting general well-being, but I would say it's not like a cure-all, like
Right, of course.
it might help, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna cure.
Mm-hmm.
So you can also do dream enhancement one, where if you're wanting to maybe walk around in your dream world, whatever it may be, and you're having a difficult time, something like this could help. You could create an elixir, drink it before bed if it's safe to drink, all of
Mm-hmm.
that. And what I like about this one is because you can use mugwort, lavender, chamomile, and other herbs and crystals associated with this. But I didn't think of tea as an elixir. And
Oh,
so if
yeah.
you're wanting to have dream enhancement, you could maybe make something and make it into a tea and then drink it. Something safe
That's a
to
great
drink like
idea.
that.
Or like I had said earlier, you might want to spritz it on your pillow.
Mm-hmm.
This might be
Yeah.
a good way
Yeah.
to use that.
But then that's also dangerous for me because my skin is so sensitive. I could have
Yeah.
some really bad skin problems.
Yeah.
I read, this is a little off topic, but I read that if you dilute apple cider vinegar with water, kind of like a, elixir, and
Okay.
it's mostly water with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and you put it on your face, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, it's a natural,
Oh.
like it reduces redness, it's a antibacterial, all of that, right? So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, great. Like, let me try it on my face, my husband's face. My husband, he has tough skin. He's from Europe. I'm going to say he's built like steel. He grew up in Europe and he can literally eat raw meat and not have a problem. So yeah. And so his face was fine. I think a little bit of clearing up of his redness that he has,
Mm-hmm.
and some he has some skin, things. And then mine, I put it on my face. Not too much. I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, my face is getting really hot. You know,
Oh
really
no.
bad. And I go into the bathroom and I look in the mirror and you can see like it's like a mustache around my lips of where I didn't put the apple cider vinegar.
Oh
So like my
no.
skin, I'm pretty pale. And so you have this pale around my lips and then just fire red. And I was like, oh my God, I look like I have like a white mustache. And
Oh
like my face was
no.
so swollen and red, but it was so smooth. Like I can't describe like what it was, but it was like so smooth. And I had
Hmm.
some redness in my face before and it was worse, but as soon as my face calmed down, the redness, it was gone. So like it
Okay.
helped with that, but I'm allergic. Like my face is allergic
Oh,
basically. Like I don't know, my face is so sensitive. So also be wary of the chemicals that you're
yeah.
putting on your
Allergies,
face. And
yeah, you may not know it, but you may be allergic to some of these, so definitely
yes,
be
yes.
careful.
So
And
maybe if you're
I
going to do it on your skin, do like a test patch
yeah,
or something.
I feel like apple cider vinegar is like a huge cure-all right now. It
It's
helps with arthritis, it helps with losing weight, it helps with all
Yes.
kinds of
Yes.
things.
It helps now with skin problems and facial
Apparently so.
acne, but for me, it doesn't.
Yeah, be wary of the
I
allergies.
became a very red and white mustache being for a little bit.
How long?
I mean, I washed my face, so I would say it happened pretty fast. So my face was starting to feel really hot, maybe not even 5 minutes after putting it on my face. It was like maybe 3 minutes, not
Okay.
even. And I was like, man, so I rinsed my face off and washed my face twice with cold
Okay.
water. And so
Okay.
it went away relatively fast. So
Okay.
it wasn't anything too bad. Um, but
Oof.
anyways, let's move on.
Okay.
So after your dream elixir, and the purpose of a dream elixir would be to enhance dream recall, promoting lucid dreaming, connecting with your subconscious, and all of
Okay.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a prosperity and abundance elixir where you could use cinnamon, bay leaves, ginger, or other herbs associated with prosperity. Also
Mm-hmm.
crystals, anything
Mm-hmm.
in these elixirs. And the purpose of this would to be to attract wealth, promote financial abundance, enhance success.
I need
Maybe,
that one.
yeah, maybe you have a job interview coming up and you need a little bit of prosperity and abundance. Maybe
I think we need
something
to
like
have
that would be good.
an elixir making weekend over at my house.
That would be
I need
great.
a lot of these.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
And then you can have like literally if you can think of it, you can have it as an elixir.
For
So
sure.
some of them are like cleansing and purification elixirs where you can use sage, frankincense, myrrh,
Mm-hmm. Myrrh.
and other herbs that are also associated with purification. And this could be for clearing negative energy, purifying spaces, spiritual cleansing, whatever it may be. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
also think you can make an elixir as like if it's water based, I feel like this would be really good to put your herbs and stuff in and then have like a hole in it in the top and you can flick it sort of like how
Great
priests do with like
idea.
holy water. And this
Yes.
could be a way to cleanse your space and it's water based or whatever you need it. So
Yes.
there's nothing, to
To
stick to your
damage
walls, to
the
damage your
property. Yeah.
environment, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
that's
like that
also a
idea.
great idea. See, look at me. I can be smart sometimes.
Look at you.
And then you can also, I don't know if I skipped one. It's all the same basically.
Mm-hmm.
Psychic awareness. So this would be include mugwort, bay leaves, amethyst, other herbs for psychic abilities. This could be to enhance your intuition or develop psychic skills
Okay.
or connect with spiritual insights. There's a lot. So here's I'll just say like one more. One more would be I feel like maybe balance and harmony because I need a little bit of balance and harmony in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do a balance and harmony one where you could use lavender, rose quartz, chamomile, anything associated with balance. And
Mm-hmm.
this would be to restore balance in your life, foster inner harmony, promote emotional equilibrium. But there's a ton. Like there's a communication elixir, a joy and happiness elixir. There's a purposeful, creative, inspirational elixir, whatever it may be
Yeah,
that
that
you
sounds
need.
great.
Yeah.
And then our final thoughts on this, when you're doing all of these, be sure to take into account the moon phases, the planetary alignment, the day of the week, the time of the day, all of that stuff before you set about creating your elixir. Writing it all down in a handy dandy journal would be a great way to do that.
Yes, we love our journals.
And again, we can't emphasize enough that if you plan to drink any of these, please be careful and research.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's all I've got. Is that all you've got?
That's all I have.
Okay. Thanks for listening. Do you want to do the outro? You want me to do it?
You can do it this time because I've been doing it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can find us at our website, which is www.c3witchypodcast.com. There we have our episodes. We've got links to all of our social media like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X. Our email address is there. There is links to our Patreon and Buzzsprout subscription pages. If you would love our podcast, please consider supporting us. It really, really helps us. And thank you guys to all of you who are our current supporters. We could not do this without you guys. You all are wonderful. Every day we do a little happy dance that we're able to continue doing this podcast, and we couldn't do it without you. If you do support us, you get access to our After Dark podcast, where we talk about the darker side of magic, from sex magic to summoning entities, be they evil, demons, whatever. Don't forget to check out my Etsy store, www.batsandbaublesinc.etsy.com. I am trying to get stuff up for Christmas in time for y'all to order some fun things if you want to order any witchy things for somebody in your life or yourself.
Yes.
So we'll be back.
We'll be back.
And until then, stay witchy.